be something outside, even with respect to VAT, of course. And if you can just write your questions into the chat box, and we will read it out and take it up at the end. So, kicking things off, we would be remiss if we did not mention that about our firm. Of course, some of you guys already know us, and for those who don't, we're Elliott Hadi Shayed, and it's been 43 years, alhamdulillah, here in the United Arab Emirates. We've been operating as a full-service chartered accountant's office, and we are associated with Elliott Group, which is from the United Kingdom. Our group has earned some awards that we just sort of highlighted in this slide, and our services run the full gamut of what a CA office does, and audit and assurance, accounting, and of course, through our management consulting, we are providing guidance on VAT and transaction and M&A advisory. With respect to VAT, we have done a lot of services for VAT, VAT registration, VAT returns review. We're giving sort of an expert opinion on whether it be a transaction that people are unsure about. We're also submitting reconsideration and clarification forms to the FTA for those cases where things aren't so clear. So as you can see, this wheel shows our full list of VAT services, and we're quite confident in providing everything in the spectrum of VAT services and support. We're led by our managing partners, Dr. Hadi Shayed and Dr. Kaser Anis. And of course, our offices, alhamdulillah, we are in Alain, Sharjah, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi, with concerns in Kabul and Karachi, Pakistan. You know us, Arnold and Zaire. This is some of our highlights or lowlights, whatever you would like to call it. The topics for today are the two. So Arnold, if you want to introduce the two topics we're going to be covering today.
Yeah, actually, as Mr. Zaire has mentioned, there are two clarification from the FTA that came out this October. Actually, to be exact, they came on the same day.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this is related to VATP020, VAT-free special offers, and VATP021 regarding the registration for sole proprietorship or establishment. Okay, so this one is very informative. We're gonna share with you. So take note those important items, because definitely you can apply all of this in your office or in your work, or for personal growth as well.
Yeah, and just for people to know, for the first public application P20, this would sort of go towards a lot of the retail side businesses, and even you as a consumer, even if you're not in retail, you should be aware of these things. And then for P21, this is with respect to the registration of sole establishments, those sole proprietorships and individuals. So there was some confusions on this, on registration, and so the FTA is trying to clarify on that. So, when we look at sort of the VAT impact on VAT-free special offers. Now, I think a lot of you have sort of gone in the market and you've seen that places or stores are saying VAT-free and VAT exempt or something. And these type of statements can start getting misleading for people.
True.
And if you're you're a consumer, you have your rights as a customer, and you should be aware of. And then as someone who's a business, a retailer, you should be aware of what you're doing in terms of the language you're using to communicate to your customers. So, this clarification was necessary. The FTA took note of what was happening in the market, and they issued this guidance. So what is some of the misleading ads we're seeing? well, we're seeing the phrase VAT-free special offers, which is contrary to what the VAT legislation is about.
True.
Right? So, okay, sure. Businesses are trying to incentivize and get people into the door, but hey, there are consumer rights out there. And if you are out there giving misleading statements, you can be penalized or held accountable. So it's for you guys to know that when you mention VAT-free or without VAT and stuff, it is actually will not be the case for most goods and services, and I'm sure those ones that don't have VAT don't really have to promote themselves that way because they're the ones that the exempt goods. But let's dive this into further. VAT-free and VAT on us, these type of misleading ads that we're seeing. So Arnold, we have basic consumer rights here.
True.
Right?
Yes. So there are different laws, definitely in different emirates, but let's highlight the things that we have seen. This came out from Consumer Law Protection of the Abu Dhabi, or there's also in Dubai. Okay. So the second item which I have chosen and highlighted is related to sorry, the rights to be informed of the facts that help them to take some purchase and consumption decision. Okay, so this is one of the basic rights of a consumer. So by saying actually that it is VAT-free, okay, that is actually misleading. Okay, so the FTA has made a comment on this one that some of them will be misleading. So part of our webinar will be to actually explain what will be the VAT impact of that. Okay, on the part of the suppliers or those companies promoting a VAT-free ads.
And of course, with these consumer rights, if anybody issues sort of a complaint or goes to the authorities and they say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, it could even be a competitor. Like they could see it and they say, hey, these guys are doing something wrong. They report report the company that is providing the misleading ads. So you need to be careful. Your competitors might tell on you. So there are bodies here that making sure that the customers are getting quality goods and services at fair prices and also being provided to in a way that is fair. So these misleading ads represent something that is unfair. Okay. Now you guys will sort of, a lot of people ask this question, oh, what is taxable or not? And we've discussed this in the past. And Arnold, you've discussed a taxability test in which you've graphically displayed over here. So we have this test to know whether something is taxable or not.
Yes. Going to those false advertisement, they mention VAT-free, okay, or they mention VAT on us. So there's a impression on the buyer that, oh, I'm not paying any VAT on this item. That's why I'm saving some money. But actually, no. Okay. So what we're going to do is that we're going to discuss with you. Of course, we keep on going back to the basics, Mr. Zahir, because we have to mention again to remind you what are the decision factor that makes a supply being a taxable goods or services. So yes, we can run this test again. So
the first test, are they goods and services? Okay, you identify, yes, it's a service. Yes, it's a physical good. You're driving some type of benefit from it or convenience or need is being satisfied. And then is it being given by a person? And a person could be even a company. Yes. And that is also, so now we've gone through the first two tests. The third test is like, has this been, these goods and services been provided by a person inside the UAE, the jurisdiction of UAE, because that's what we're concerned about with respect to the federal tax authorities of UAE's jurisdiction. And then has there been some type of consideration for it? Okay, so this also has to be identified. The fifth test would be, is it in pursuit of business or is there some commercial activity? Yes. Okay, and the last would be, it is what is being provided is not amongst the exempt supplies. Okay, so this is the taxability test. Now, if you're meeting these items in the taxability test, immediately as a person, what is the responsibility of the taxable person? Well, you need to then register for the VAT, of course, and then charge VAT on the taxable supplies.
Yes.
Right? And of course, when you do that, you need to issue a tax invoice. This is a requirement for everyone. And you have to file the VAT return and pay the tax that is due. So charging the VAT is a key part of this. So you can't get away from it. You can't say, hey, VAT-free, VAT, VAT on us, or no, there is a VAT that needs to be accounted for and has to be paid. And unless, of course, it's part of the exempt supplies, and this is a requirement to comply with all the rules and regulations upon which you are, where we are residing here in the UAE. Okay, so what is the issue really? These misleading ads, Arnold, like when you say VAT-free promotion, is that that's the case in reality?
Okay, actually no.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we call it a post advertisement. Okay, in reality, when we say VAT-free promotion, it means that the supplier is taxable. The supplier is actually actually has the responsibility to charge VAT, and of course for the buyer to pay the VAT on that. Okay. So on the other hand, there's another what we call the VAT on us. Okay, I think if you're going outside and then you're driving, okay, you're gonna see. I think most of it happening on the industry of car dealers. Okay, in most of the time we always see this one, VAT on us promotion. Actually, in reality, they're actually providing a discount. Okay, so we have a rules related to the discount. How are we going to compute value-added tax on the discount? Okay. And then, what's optional? The reason we mentioned optional, no, actually, no. Everyone, it's not the person or the taxpayer who will, who will tell you that the value-added tax is optional. No, we have a law on that one, so we know what are the taxable goods and services. So it's not up to the supplier to decide on that.
Then the idea of a promotional discount, and we have an example over here. So let's
run this example.
Put it all up and understand the VAT impact. Okay. So you have Dream Car LLC, which is selling brand new cars, and it launched a campaign saying VAT on us promotions for one of its slow-moving items amongst its new stock, I guess. And then the normal price is 210,000. The reality is that okay, there's no actual. The seller is not actually taking the VAT on behalf of the customer.
Yes,
they're just providing actually a discount.
True. Okay. So in this case, we have a law pertaining to the discount. So how are you going to compute value-added tax on that? Okay. So in this case, okay. We can say if the seller is saying VAT on us, so it means they're going to take the responsibility of the VAT. That is not true. Okay, so it means they're actually providing you the 5% of that item. So in our example, it means that 10,000 will be the discount.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a VAT on us; it's a discount. Then the value of supply will be the 200,000 after deducting the discount.
Yeah. So the value of the VAT of the 5%, they've actually just given a discount on that, and they have though charged a VAT, and if you get a tax invoice, there will be a VAT on it. Yeah.
Okay.
The next is saying VAT inclusive pricing. So this is a sort of VAT-free advertising.
Yes.
So example we have here is the price is advertised 200,000 dirhams for motor vehicle or a good, and it is VAT-free.
Yes.
Actually, this is a taxable transaction. There will be a VAT on it, and the price is actually VAT inclusive. So 200,000 includes the VAT already. And so if the value of the supply is 200,000, well, if you do a bit of arithmetic, you can come up to about the VAT included is about 9523.81.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So,
by the way, Mr. Zoy, let me just know. Somebody asked me when somebody asked me about this rule, they're asking about, if you're going to, do you remember if you're going to some of the like a malls, they mentioned tax-free item. Okay, that is not, definitely we're not discussing that part because that one pertains to the tourist refund scheme. So that's totally different. That is a valid advertisement, which is they mentioned tax-free. I think most of the time you're gonna see that in malls. Okay, those who are actually applying a tourist refund scheme. Okay, we're not discussing those things. That's totally different. Okay.
Then we have these export sales, and where buyers versus VAT. So Arnold, talk to the people a little bit about this slide over here.
Sure. If you're actually a consumer, okay, if you're going to like a grocery, so it means that the advertised amount will definitely be considered as VAT inclusive.
Yes.
Okay. However, there are instances wherein you cannot do that. Okay. It means that when you are actually invoicing or presenting the price should be exclusive of value-added tax on two instances. Number one is for the export. Okay. Because of course for the export we cannot display it as VAT inclusive. That's impossible. Okay. The other one, if the buyer is actually VAT registered, okay, you cannot present the item as VAT inclusive. So in mechanism of value-added tax, you have to present the VAT separate from the value of the supply. Okay, so you have to present it. So in this is two instances, we have to present exclusive of value-added tax. Okay.
Here's another example with sort of same as the VAT free, and what the invoicing, what I was talking about, where you have the VAT has been mentioned on the invoice. So the whole idea of VAT free is doesn't hold. Like, so that promotion is misleading and false.
Yes.
So because as mentioned over here, Article 59 requires tax invoice to be issued.
Yes.
Right, based on the requirements. So okay, moving on to next. Yes, so I think that was the topic of misleading ads or VAT free, VAT on us. Anything else you want to say about that, Arnold?
I think that one really clarifies the thing that be careful the way you're actually advertising your supply of
your
goods
communications that you're putting out there. True. It's fine to be trying to promote your goods in the right manner, but if you use these type of wording, then and someone who is actually oversees the consumer rights or authority for that, and they get notified about that, yes, you could be held liable for your misleading communication.
Yes.
Okay, so coming to the other topic, which is for the other clarification, which is on sole establishments. These are companies where there's 100% sole proprietorship.
Yes.
And in those cases where there are multiple sole proprietorships under the same individual's name, there is a bit of confusion there on VAT registration. So this clarification tackles that. So what is the issue? A sole establishment does not have a legal personality that is independent of its owner and is accordingly considered to be the same person as its owner. Okay. There has been uncertainty on whether each sole establishment need to obtain a VAT registration separately, or whether such establishments can be included in one VAT registration. So what has the FTA clarified on this? Arnold, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have an example here. For example, an individual who owns 3 companies. All of them are sole proprietorship. Okay, so let's go to company A. it is actually a construction. Company B is under the trading industry. Company C is under the service. Okay, so as Mr. Zaire has mentioned, okay, so definitely since the legal personality of the sole proprietorship is not different from the company he's owning, okay, FTA stand for this particular rule is that they should come only in one VAT registration. So when we say only one VAT registration, it means they should have a common TRN. Okay, so we know that this is a new rule. Okay, so our question is what happened to the past?
Yes. What about companies who have already registered
Yes.
And got a TRN, and it's a different one from the other sole proprietorships?
Before, I think if we remember, if the company exceeded the threshold, we're gonna register it independently. That has always been the rule before.
Yeah.
Okay, but in this particular guidelines, things will be changing for the future. Okay, so let's explain what happened to the past registration and the future registration.
Yeah, so those who have registered and gotten a TRN for sole proprietorship and is different from the other sister sort of concerns, they will be sort of grandfathered in. They can continue as is, and the FTA will give them information how to give the corrective steps. Under this new clarification, what should be done is that it should be under one TRN, but they understand that now you have maybe 3 or 4 other TRNs and how to put them together. FTA will provide the corrective steps for that. But from now on, which is saying October 2018 onwards, we expect anyone who is anyone of these sole proprietorships and they have the same individual owner, and now they've exceeded the mandatory registration threshold, they should be getting the same. They should be under the same registration as their other sister concerns, if they're already registered or not registered. So and also we have, when assessing the VAT threshold, that is also of a concern.
Yes. Okay. Just to clarify this particular slide further, it means that before, if an individual owns several proprietorship in the past, okay, and then all of them have individual TRN numbers, it means individual registration. Okay, it means that you don't have to do anything. Okay, so it means that you're gonna wait for the FTA to notify you if it needs to be corrected. Okay, so that is actually a good news and a relief to everyone. However, for the future, you have to consider these particular guidelines. Okay, especially if you're coming up with new companies.
The threshold. So now this example will sort of illustrate what I was talking about regarding the threshold. So the supply in the last 12 months for our sole proprietorship, the construction concern is 200,000, and then the trading is 150, and the service company is 50,000. So what is the VAT status? So of course the one that what we have here is we're showing the 200,000 is above the voluntary registration threshold. They have registered, and the 150 and the 50,000 they are not. So company B and C are not registered.
Okay, so this is very crucial. Okay, if your company is actually this one, okay, so what will happen? So it means that there's a possibility that you are not registering company B and C because they're below the threshold. Okay, however, when it comes to the threshold, in this particular instances, we have to aggregate them. Okay, so what will happen here? So if in case the aggregate threshold exceeded the mandatory threshold, which is 375 AED, then it means that company B and C has to be registered for value-added tax. Okay, so be careful on this one, because if you don't register, there's a possibility of a late registration. So take note of that.
Yes, so this is a very important example that people should remember, that it is not that because they're below the threshold,
Yes.
Don't need to register.
Yes.
Hey, look, what is your legal structure or your sole proprietorship? You have other sister concerns that are also sole proprietorships.
Yes.
We should be looking at the aggregate amount.
Yes.
And then accordingly, if you may not be meeting the threshold yourself for that specific company, but for the others, you together you are.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Right. So here's a summary on this and this sort of colorful pyramid. So we can go go through this.
Yes.
A sole establishment does not have a legal personality that is independent of owner. Okay. Then the same TRN can be applied to multiple sole establishments that belong by the same natural person.
Yes.
Right. And no corrective action is required for those who have, done differently in the past.
Yes.
But for future, we expect everyone to comply. So if you do new registrations and
for
those
the
who are
companies.
new companies, they need to. Don't forget the concept of the aggregate threshold and with respect to registration for the natural person and possible registration where to be made, if possible penalties that could be made if you're not registered. So yeah, so that's the last part. Of course, I think this is something that may affect some of our listeners and may not, but here in Abu Dhabi as well as in Dubai and Northern Emirates, you see many cases where you have an individual person has multiple companies under their name.
Yes.
And so for those people who are looking at family groups, for example, these family conglomerates, you'll see a lot of that.
Yes.
So you have to be very careful of that. They may have a smaller concern that doesn't do that much trading activity, whatever, said, okay, we didn't register it. But hey, look, the other companies are pushing you past the threshold. It's owned by the same person. That company needs to be registered as well.
Yes, especially Mr. Zahir. Some of the companies, they're keeping one company for visa purposes.
Yes.
And they keep on saying, oh, we don't have any activities on
it's just a visa.
Okay. If that is an establishment, consider what we have discussed today. Consider the rules. Then it becomes a new rule, especially for the future, for the new companies.
Yeah. So today's presentation is a lot shorter than our usual ones. It is also the long weekend, so we know everybody's sort of half mentally checked out. Yes. But this was a short and sweet one. I'm not seeing any questions here in our chat box at the moment, but we just wanted to, while we're concluding the presentation, just want to say that it's important to consider having tax professionals or consultants like our firm, to provide you that sort of support for your VAT compliance. And you may be doing things correctly. You may have worked with us in the past as well, but it always doesn't hurt to have that added layer of assurance with respect to reporting your tax compliance requirements. So save you some time, save you some money, and then maybe also save you from future pain, just in case you didn't realize something or you missed something. So that's what we wanted to say. Okay, so we don't have any other questions today. I guess everybody understood.
Yeah,
understood clearly.
If you have any question, even if it is not related to
what we talked about, we can take it up.
True.
So I think lastly, I will say though is I think what we have in with respect to reporting the VAT, and as the sort of the law has come into place in 2018, we've seen different guidance come and the public clarification, and all these public clarifications have come for real estate. They've come for different areas that that people weren't sure about, and they're all there on the FTA website. Of course, it's a little harder to sift through, and that's why it's the advantage of having a tax professional with you. You don't have to go through all that information, but it is available there. But what we have seen is that the tax authorities are changing and adjusting to as things move forward. Now we're 2 years over with respect to the implementation of the law, right? So, okay, I guess no questions. Let's conclude it here then.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us. And I wish you all a very happy long weekend and stay safe out there. Wash your hands. And hopefully we will see you at our next presentation. Please do send us feedback on our webinars, what you think. And we'll be taking up some other subjects as well, aside from VAT. We've done ESR. We've also done the UBO, which happened just recently. So if you have any other topics you'd like us to cover, we'd love to look into that. So do send us by email.
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much, everybody. All the best and have a great long weekend.